So, Koga vs ZG. Something I talked about in previous videos that I thought was kind of being built up with ZG, but more so for something in the future. However, considering recent trends with Kengan, I should have expected this stuff to happen really fast, so we're getting Koga vs ZG now. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to go. Of course, the obvious answer is Koga's going to win as he just got that Cano and Lolong amp, which is probably huge. But ZG has been going quite a while in these recent chapters, and he is quite confident in himself, so he may surprise us. I get the sense in the final panel that regardless of what Oma said, ZG is going to try and kill Koga and try and escape after that. But if you're not sure of why they're referring to this as a rematch, back in around chapter 48 to 50, right before the big Oma return in chapter 50, we had Koga fight ZG, or had a little scuffle between one another. This is Koga saving Yamashita, of course. So I'm guessing that's the first initial match they talked about, with Koga and Yamashita running away from ZG. Now this is Koga wanting to get his revenge. And if you're not sure about why Oma wants to pay ZG back, it's not just trying to help out Koga. Faye told Oma that ZG was the one who had given Hanafusa, or presented Hanafusa with the heart that ended up saving Oma's life. To this day, we don't know the exact reason why the worm decided to save Oma, or why ZG in particular had a role in that. It's most likely connected to Oma and Garuki both being clones according to Faye, and potentially Tiger Vessel stuff from the Tiger Nico, or even something else we don't fully know about. Just keep all of that in mind. But speaking of Garuki, he's been done quite dirty these last few chapters, and for a while, ever since his Naden fight, he hasn't done anything too significant. Like, he's just been taking out random worm goons with Kiryu and Akoya, and now these last two chapters we see him getting beat up by ZG. It seems as though he was more serious this chapter, using another Guile style technique, but again, he's not really in crazy kill mode from what I can really see, so hopefully Garuki does something crazy soon, as I honestly prefer him over Koga as the protagonist. If you don't know, Garuki and Koga are the protagonists of Kengan Mega. I just want a little bit more from him, and of course a lot more from Kiryu. I was waiting for him to show his face this chapter. Of course that didn't happen, but we did have Akoya telling Roki not to let ZG get to the Kengan Association, or for them to kill ZG before the Kengan Association gets to him, which of course they failed, but as the fight between Koga and ZG goes on, we could have Akoya and Garuki and maybe even Kiryu coming in and then messing everything up, as they're not directly working for the Kengan Association with their worm hunting stuff. So I'd say just keep them in the back of your mind. They may make an appearance and do something pretty crazy in the coming chapters. But before I continue, if you're a fan of all these fighting manga I talk about on my channel Mysterious Weave, be a mad lad and hit that subscribe button, it's greatly appreciated. Also, leave a like on the video if you're, a cool person. But other things to mention this chapter is when ZG was beating up Akoya and Roki, he said this: "I was supposed to be the head of the worm." This could be referring to two things. The first and most likely possibility is how in his flashback we had him talking about wanting to be the head, and how he's going to have all these goons around him to support him and rise to that position. That's his overall goal, to be the head of the worm. Or potentially that he's more naturally gifted than his brother Yan, the current head, and that it should have been him, but due to some other circumstances he wasn't able to gain that position, most likely his, personality and demeanor. However, considering Yan's relationship with the Connector, it seems as though Yan is much stronger than ZG, considering how ZG reacted being around the Connector. Or if it's just the fact that the Connector is way stronger than anyone else we've seen in the series, including Eddie and the Tiger Nico, which I personally doubt. He may be a little bit stronger than them, but I think it's more likely he's on the same level. Edward Wu probably has the base stat advantage over all of them. Maybe the Tiger Nico has the technique advantage, and the Connector has more base stats than the Tiger Nico, and better techniques than Edward as a in-between with all of them. That's just my thoughts on that free lineup, and maybe Yan in combination with the Connector is this above those two, but we do know they have all the same authority. Talking about Oma's role in this chapter, again he looked quite chill and not really caring too much, but he does give off the vibe that he's much stronger than the likes of ZG and that he could pretty much neg him whenever he wanted, with him even saying, "I'm giving you a chance, but just one. If you try and run, I'll beat you until you can't move." And I think ZG knows Oma is much stronger than him, as in his character profile, one of ZG's abilities is pretty much danger detection. That's why he's able to escape people so easily. It's his innate trait, I guess. So him talking to Oma or seeing Oma and knowing so much about Oma, he's probably aware that Oma is way out of his league, unlike Garuki and Akoya, where he can kind of just mess them up. Even though Garuki is kind of hard to talk about as he isn't always serious, and I feel as though he's suppressed mentally quite a bit when it comes to his abilities and hasn't gone all out. But Oma alone is pretty much able to keep the likes of Himuro, Nakata, Ren Squad, Inaba, all of them at bay, while Koga comes in and fights ZG, as he says, "None of them are going to hurt you, not on my watch." So Oma's confident in taking all of them out, which is as expected. Oma is one of the strongest characters in the verse now, and we don't know what he's done over the 2 recent time skips. We saw other characters get a huge buff in 2 years. Maybe even another buff like that could have happened for the likes of Oma. As we know, his goal is most likely to defeat and fight the Tiger Nico, so is he on that level now? We have no idea, but it is a possibility. Something that I think we might actually see during the fight between Koga and ZG is the flashback of Koga fighting Oma before the recent decently long time skip, as we had Koga challenge Oma, then we didn't get to actually see the fight. Maybe they will get flashback to at some point shortly. I personally hope so, even though I think Oma kinda negged him, maybe Koga landing one lucky attack, but I'm excited to see where Koga currently sits. Of course, he worked more so on his pre-initiative or his fist eye reactions, pretty much going to get an overall buff from Kano and Long. I don't think he'll have formless or anything like that, formless light, nothing like that. He'll still be using his Rokushun Karate as his base, but this is fist eye ability and his foresight / pre-initiative. Those aspects will be developed much more, and we'll see what happens against someone who's immensely gifted and has a light level of the Superman syndrome. Let me know down below, who do you think is going to win, Koga or ZG? Or do you think the fight will be cut short from the arrival of Kiryu, Garuki, or maybe some of the other worms such as the 2 direct subordinates who are with ZG? They could also have a role. Or maybe the worm extermination group runs into them while this fight is occurring. That could be something pretty interesting as well, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, high five. Cheers. But yeah, check out the other stuff in the description. Shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.